You can follow every rule. You can eat organic vegetables, lean proteins, and whole grains. You can count your calories, track your macros, avoid sugar, and cut the carbs. You can do everything you've been told to do and still wake up bloated, still feel the afternoon crash, still see the inflammation, still carry the weight, still wonder why your body won't respond the way it should. And the hard truth is this: you were never eating for the wrong body. You were eating for the wrong conversation, because the most important part of you that decides whether food heals or harms, whether your immune system protects or attacks, whether your energy rises or falls, it's not your stomach. It's not even your cells. It's the trillions of microbes living inside your gut that you've been accidentally starving this entire time. I'm Dr. Bulsiewicz, but most people just call me Dr. B. I'm a board-certified gastroenterologist. For over a decade, I've dedicated my career to understanding one of the most powerful and overlooked systems in the human body, the gut. Not just as a digestive organ, but as the command center that influences your immunity, your inflammation levels, your energy, your mood, your metabolic health, and your risk for chronic disease. I've worked with thousands of patients who came to me feeling bloated, exhausted, anxious, inflamed, and confused. People who were doing everything right on paper but still felt like their body was working against them. And what I've learned, both in my clinical practice and through years of research, is that most of us have never been taught how the gut actually works. We've been advised about what to eat, but not why it matters. We've been told to follow diets, but not how to listen to the ecosystem within us that responds to every choice we make. That's why I'm here, to bridge the gap between cutting-edge gut science and real practical understanding, to help you see your body not as something broken, but as something brilliant, waiting for the right information. Tens of thousands of people in this community are learning to rebuild their health from the inside out, not through quick fixes or trends, but through evidence-based changes that actually last. And today I want to talk about something that might challenge what you think you know. Because the truth is, eating healthy isn't always enough. And if you've ever felt frustrated that you're doing everything right, but still not feeling the way you should, this is for you. Something is happening inside your body right now that you cannot see, cannot feel, and were never taught to understand. It is shaping the way you think, the way you heal, the way your immune system decides what friend and what is an enemy. It is determining whether inflammation quietly builds in your tissues or whether your cells communicate with precision and balance. It is influencing your mood before you even wake up, your energy levels by midday, your cravings in the evening, and whether you sleep deeply or lie awake with a mind that will not settle. This invisible system has been working every second since the day you were born, and most people live their entire lives without ever learning its language. We are told to eat better, we are told to exercise, to manage stress, to sleep more, to drink water, and to take vitamins. We follow the advice, we buy the organic vegetables, the lean proteins, and the whole grains. We cut out sugar, then carbs, then gluten, then dairy. We try intermittent fasting, we try keto, we try paleo, we try vegan. We count calories, we track macros, we read labels, and we meal prep. And still, something feels wrong. The bloating does not go away. The brain fog lingers. The fatigue returns. The weight creeps back. The inflammation persists. The anxiety remains. We begin to believe that maybe our body is just broken, that maybe we are the exception, that maybe health is something other people get to have. But what if the problem is not your willpower or your genetics or your metabolism? What if the problem is that we have been trying to fix the body from the outside in, when the real conversation has always been happening from the inside out? What if everything you have been taught about healthy eating has ignored the most sophisticated biological network you possess, the one that decides whether the food you consume becomes fuel or becomes poison, whether your immune system protects you or attacks you, whether your hormones balance or spiral, whether your brain feels clear or clouded? Your gut is not just a digestive tube. It is not a passive organ waiting to break down food and absorb nutrients. It is a living, breathing ecosystem, home to trillions of microorganisms that outnumber the cells in your body, that carry more genetic information than your own DNA, that communicate with your brain, your immune system, your hormones, your skin, your heart. These microbes are not passengers, they are partners. They produce vitamins your body cannot make on its own. They train your immune cells to recognize threats. They manufacture neurotransmitters that regulate your mood. They create short chain fatty acids that heal the lining of your intestines, reduce inflammation, and influence whether your body stores fat or burns it. They are silent workers, invisible architects, the foundation upon which your entire health is built. And we have been destroying them, not intentionally, not maliciously, but systematically, quietly, through the food we eat, the medications we take, the stress we carry, the sleep we sacrifice, the movement we avoid. We live in a world designed to starve the microbiome while feeding the body. We eat foods engineered for shelf life, not microbial life. We consume sugar without fiber, protein without plants, calories without communication. We have created a dietary landscape so far removed from what human biology evolved with that the gut has become confused, inflamed, and weakened. And when the gut is weakened, everything downstream begins to fail. The bloating you feel after meals is not just gas, it is a signal. The fatigue that hits you in the afternoon is not just a lack of sleep, it is a signal. The skin breakouts, the joint pain, the brain fog, the mood swings, the sugar cravings, the weight that will not shift no matter how little you eat. These are not isolated symptoms. They are signals. Your gut is speaking to you. It has been speaking to you for years, but no one ever taught you how to listen. Most people think of gut health as a trend, a buzzword, something influencers talk about while selling probiotics and cleanses. They think it is about avoiding gluten, or cutting out dairy, or drinking kombucha. They think it is another diet to try, another rule to follow, another temporary fix that might work until it does not. But gut health is not a trend. It is biology. It is the upstream source of nearly every chronic condition we face today. Heart disease, diabetes, autoimmune disorders, depression, anxiety, obesity, cancer. These conditions are not random. They are not genetic inevitabilities. They are inflammatory diseases, and inflammation begins in the gut. When the gut lining is damaged, when the microbiome is imbalanced, when the ecosystem collapses, the immune system becomes overactive and confused. It starts attacking the body it is meant to protect. It creates inflammation in the joints, in the brain, in the blood vessels, and in the organs. This inflammation does not announce itself with sirens and alarms. It builds slowly, silently, over years and decades, until one day you are diagnosed with a disease that feels like it came out of nowhere. But it did not come out of nowhere. It was growing in the soil you were feeding it. And the soil is the gut. You cannot out-exercise a broken gut. You cannot out-supplement it. You cannot hack it with a pill or a powder or a cleanse. The gut responds to consistency, to intention, to the daily choices you make about what you put on your plate and how you live your life. It responds to fiber, to diversity, to whole foods that carry information, not just calories. It responds to fermented foods that introduce beneficial microbes. It responds to movement, to sleep, to stress management, to sunlight, to connection. It responds to being treated with respect. But here's the problem. Respect requires discipline. It requires saying no to convenience. It requires choosing the food that nourishes over the food that numbs. It requires understanding that every meal is a conversation with your biology, and that conversation has consequences. Most people are not ready for that level of accountability. They want the shortcut, the magic pill, the diet that lets them eat whatever they want as long as they avoid one ingredient. They want to believe that health can be achieved without change, without effort, without honesty. But your body keeps the score. It always has. It always will. The science of the gut is not new. Researchers have been studying the microbiome for decades, publishing thousands of papers that reveal the profound connection between gut health and nearly every aspect of human wellness. But science has been slow to reach the public, filtered through headlines and marketing campaigns that reduce complex biology to simple slogans. Eat more fiber, take a probiotic, avoid processed food. These statements are true, but they are also incomplete. They do not explain why fiber matters, or what it actually does, or why most people are eating less than half of what their bodies need. Fiber is not a macronutrient. It is not protein, it is not fat, it is not even a source of calories for most of your cells. Fiber is food for your microbes. When you eat fiber from whole plant foods, vegetables, fruits, legumes, whole grains, nuts, seeds, it travels through your stomach and small intestine, largely undigested. Your human cells do not have the enzymes to break it down, but when it reaches your colon, your microbes go to work. They ferment the fiber, breaking it down into compounds that your body can use. The most important of these compounds is short-chain fatty acids, particularly one called butyrate. Butyrate is a healer. It feeds the cells that line your gut, keeping them healthy and tightly connected. When your gut lining is strong, it acts as a selective barrier, allowing nutrients to pass into your bloodstream while keeping out toxins, undigested food particles, and harmful bacteria. But when your gut lining is damaged, when the cells are starved of butyrate because you are not eating enough fiber, the barrier becomes leaky. Things that should stay in your gut start slipping into your bloodstream. Your immune system detects these foreign invaders and responds with inflammation. This is not a defect. This is your body doing exactly what it is designed to do. But when the inflammation becomes chronic, when it never turns off because the gut never heals, the body begins to break down. This is why you can eat a technically healthy diet, lean chicken, white rice, a little broccoli, and still feel terrible. You are eating food, but you are not feeding your microbes. You are consuming calories, but you are starving the ecosystem that keeps you alive. And when that ecosystem collapses, your health collapses with it. Diversity is strength. In nature, ecosystems with a wide variety of species are more resilient, more adaptable, and more capable of withstanding stress and change. The same is true inside your gut. A diverse microbiome can handle fluctuations in diet, occasional stress, and the inevitable exposures to pathogens and toxins. A diverse microbiome communicates better with your immune system, produces a wider range of beneficial compounds, and prevents any one species of bacteria from dominating and causing harm. But diversity does not come from eating the same 10 foods over and over again. It does not come from meal prepping the same chicken and rice 5 days in a row. It does not come from restriction, elimination, or fear. Diversity comes from eating a wide variety of whole plant foods, not just vegetables, but different vegetables, not just fruit, but different fruit, not just beans, but different beans. The research is detailed. People who consume 30 or more different plant foods per week have a significantly more diverse microbiome than those who eat fewer than 10. This is not about perfection. It is about exposure. It is about giving your microbes the raw materials they need to thrive, to communicate, to build a resilient community inside you. But most people do not eat 30 plant foods in a week. They eat 5, maybe 10. They eat the same salad, the same snack, the same breakfast, the same safe foods that do not challenge their taste buds or their routine. And they wonder why their gut feels stuck, why their energy is flat, why their skin breaks out, why their mood is unstable. The body is not designed to thrive on monotony. It is designed to thrive on abundance, on variety, on the wild unpredictability of whole foods grown from the earth. Fermented foods are another layer of this conversation, another tool in the rebuilding of a healthy gut. Yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi, miso, tempeh, kombucha, these foods are alive. They carry beneficial bacteria that can colonize your gut, at least temporarily, and influence the balance of your microbiome. They also carry metabolites, compounds produced during fermentation, that have anti-inflammatory and immune modulating effects. Eating fermented foods regularly is like sending reinforcements to your gut, reminding the ecosystem what balance feels like. But here's what most people miss. You cannot ferment your way out of a terrible diet. You cannot eat processed junk all day and then drink kombucha and expect your gut to heal. Fermented foods are powerful, but they are not magic. They work best when they are part of a broader dietary pattern that prioritizes whole foods, fiber, and diversity. They are a complement, not a replacement. The same is true for probiotics. Walk into any health store and you will see shelves of probiotic supplements, each one promising to restore your gut health, boost your immunity, and improve your digestion. Some of these products are backed by research, many are not. The truth is that probiotics can be helpful in specific situations. After a course of antibiotics during digestive distress for certain medical conditions, but they are not a cure-all. Your gut does not need more bacteria. It needs the right environment for bacteria to thrive. It needs fiber. It needs diversity. It needs consistency. This is where most people fail. They want the quick fix, the supplement, the 30-day reset. They want to believe that they can undo years of damage in a matter of weeks. But the gut does not work on your timeline. It works on biology's timeline. Healing takes months, sometimes years, of consistent choices, of showing up for your body every single day, of choosing the foods that build rather than destroy. This is not sexy. This is not marketable. But this is the truth. The gut-brain connection is one of the most profound and misunderstood aspects of human health. For years, we thought of the brain as the master controller, the organ that sent signals down to the body and dictated how it should function. But we now know that the gut sends more signals to the brain than the brain sends to the gut. The vagus nerve, a long, wandering nerve that connects the brain to the digestive system, is constantly transmitting information about the state of your gut to your brain. Your microbes produce neurotransmitters, serotonin, dopamine, GABA, chemicals that directly influence your mood, your focus, your sense of well-being. This is why anxiety often lives in your stomach. This is why depression can feel like a heavy weight in your chest and abdomen. This is why stress disrupts your digestion, why nervousness makes you nauseous, and why gut problems so often come with brain problems. The two are not separate systems. They are one system, in constant communication, influencing each other every second of every day. When your gut is inflamed, when your microbiome is imbalanced, the signals it sends to your brain are distorted. Instead of messages of calm and balance, it sends messages of threat and alarm. Your brain interprets these signals as stress, even when there is no external stressor. You feel anxious without knowing why. You feel low without a reason. You struggle to focus, to think clearly, to feel like yourself. And because the medical system has trained us to see mental health as separate from physical health, you are prescribed a medication for your brain while your gut continues to scream. This is not to say that mental health conditions are not real, or that they do not require treatment, or that medication is not sometimes necessary. It is to say that we have been treating symptoms while ignoring causes. We have been medicating the brain while the gut remains broken. And for many people, not all but many, healing the gut can radically shift their mental health. They find that their anxiety lessens, their mood stabilizes, their brain fog lifts, their energy returns. Not because they fix their mind, but because they fix the soil from which their mind grows. Food is not just fuel, food is information. Every bite you take sends a signal to your cells, to your genes, to your microbes. It tells your body whether to build or break down, whether to inflame or heal, whether to store or release. When you eat ultra-processed food, food stripped of fiber, loaded with sugar, engineered for addiction, you are sending a signal of scarcity, of threat, of survival mode. Your body responds by storing fat, increasing inflammation, and triggering cravings for more. This is not a failure of willpower. This is biology responding to the information it has been given. When you eat whole foods, foods that come from the earth, that carry fiber and nutrients and diversity, you are sending a signal of abundance, of safety, of thriving. Your body responds by healing, by balancing, by letting go of what it no longer needs. This is not a diet. This is a reset of the conversation between you and your biology. But the reset requires honesty. It requires looking at the gap between what you say you want and what you actually do. It requires admitting that you are choosing convenience over health, that you are choosing comfort over growth, that you are choosing the familiar over the transformative. This is not about judgment. This is about clarity. You cannot change what you do not acknowledge. Most people are not eating badly because they do not know better. They are eating badly because they are tired, because they are stressed, because they are overwhelmed, because cooking feels like one more task they do not have time for. They are eating badly because they have been conditioned to believe that food is entertainment, that meals should be quick and easy, that flavor should come from salt and sugar and fat rather than from the earth. They are eating badly because the entire food system has been designed to make the worst choices the easiest choices. But knowing this does not remove your agency. It does not absolve you of responsibility. You still have the power to choose. You still can say no to what harms you and yes to what heals you. You still have the capacity to show up for your body with intention and consistency, even when it is hard, especially when it is hard. Discipline is not restriction. Discipline is self-respect. It is the willingness to delay gratification, to endure temporary discomfort, to invest in your future self. It is the understanding that you are not depriving yourself when you choose whole foods over junk food. You are honoring yourself. You are feeding the ecosystem that keeps you alive. You are building resilience, not just in your gut, but in your mind, in your identity, in your sense of what you are capable of. This is where the real transformation happens, not in the weight you lose, not in the symptoms that fade, but in the shift in how you see yourself. When you realize that you are not a victim of your cravings, that you are not powerless against your habits, that you are not broken beyond repair, when you realize that your body is capable of healing, that your gut can rebuild, that your health is not fixed but fluid, responsive, alive, you become a different person. You become someone who chooses, someone who acts, someone who builds. And the building starts with the small things. It starts with one meal, one choice, One moment where you pause and ask yourself, is this feeding my body or is this feeding my stress? It starts with adding one new vegetable to your plate this week. It starts with cooking one meal at home instead of ordering out. It starts with drinking one glass of water before your coffee. It starts with going to bed 30 minutes earlier. It starts with taking 3 deep breaths before you eat. It starts with slowing down enough to notice what your body is telling you. The modern world is not designed for gut health. It is designed for speed, for efficiency, for profit. The food that fills grocery store shelves is optimized for shelf life, not human life. It is stripped of fiber, loaded with additives, engineered to hit your bliss point, the perfect combination of sugar, fat, and salt that makes you want more even when you are full, even when you know better. This food does not nourish your microbes, it starves them. And when your microbes are starved, they send distress signals to your brain. They create cravings. They drive you to seek out more of the same food that is harming you. This is not a moral failing. This is a biological hijacking. But you can take back control, not through willpower alone, not through restriction or punishment, but through understanding. When you understand that your cravings are not coming from you, that they are coming from an imbalanced microbiome desperately trying to survive, you can begin to address the root cause. You can begin to feed the microbes that promote health, that reduce cravings, that communicate balance to your brain. And over time, sometimes weeks, sometimes months, those cravings begin to fade. The pull toward junk food weakens. The desire for whole foods strengthens. Your taste buds change. Your hunger signals normalize. You stop feeling like you are fighting your body and start feeling like you are working with it. This is the promise of gut health. Not a quick fix, not a miracle cure, but a gradual, sustainable shift in how your body functions, how it feels, how it responds to the world. It is not flashy, it is not dramatic, but it is real. And it is available to anyone willing to do the work. The work is daily, it is boring, it is unglamorous, it is waking up and choosing oatmeal with berries over a muff.